want to grab your cheeks.
Yeah, okay. You want to grab my cheeks. Whatever. Don't just stop it.
Squeeze.
Stop it. See? Just knock it off. I don't need this kind of abuse right now from you. As a bearded man, Rob, that when you do trim your beard, if there's always that one fear that setting's going to be just off. The setting was right. The thing was just broken, and I had to basically just buzz my beard, and I feel like I don't even like looking at myself right now. I don't even know who this is, and now you come along and you say you want to pinch my cheeks.
I just want to give you a little.
No pinching my cheeks.
Because it's been like 10 years since I've had a beard. So if I did make that, if I had like a problem with my shaver, I'm like, oh no, because my face is like, I have a small face, so it get real tiny, and I'd look, oh my God.
Well, mine looks like a pumpkin. This is round like a pumpkin. I hate this thing. This is just driving me nuts. Yeah, I'm like, I want to put some hair growth stuff all over.
Yeah, like fast. Good. Let's speed this up.
Come on. Give me my beard back. Anyway, it was a mishap. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I know, Grizz. I know, bud. Well, it is what it is. It was a shaver mishap, and here we go. But anyway, the girlfriend gets to have a new boyfriend today, so that's kind of cool. That's fun. Right? Oh, see, there you go. All right, so let's get to this. Obviously, huge, gigantic, crazy news that I'm sorry, Rob. You said we predicted this when?
At least 2022. At least, because we did a bet live on the air one day that it would not be Trump versus Biden. I think I picked Kamala. I think you picked, no, I picked Newsom. I don't remember what you picked, but I don't think either of us picked Kamala because she was that bad of a vice president. No. But we predicted that Joe Biden would not be the nominee. And clearly now, you've all heard the news, Joe Biden is not the nominee.
I'm sorry. Did you all hear the news? And yes, Rhonda, I know my face is naked. It was a trimmer accident. I'm more freaked out than anyone, I promise you.
The good news is we get to watch it grow over the next couple weeks. We get to watch it come back to life every day. A little bit more.
I can't wait to head over to the girlfriend's house after this, and she's going to be I'm sorry, what happened? So anyway, who are you? Come back in 2 weeks when you're a man again. Oh, man. Okay, so let's get back to this. We said all of you have heard. Maybe it didn't hear. You know why? Because the president of the United States stepped down from a re-election bid on social media and a press release. No video. Oh, no, he's sick. He has COVID. Remember the first time that he had COVID? And he had that in, the White House. It was the White House balcony in the background. Remember this? He did the whole video. Hi, everybody. Because I can't do a Biden impression, so he's now Harry Carey. I have the Rona. And so he was just very excited, very upbeat. Now he's got the Rona, and they're using that as an excuse. Oh, no, that's why he's very sick. He's only had 5 doses of the Paxlovid, and so he can't do a video of stepping down. Why can't you wait 3 days, 2 days? Few days till he gets back on his feet and he's feeling a little bit better? No, it was a damn social media post. That's why, and it was on a Sunday, for the love of God. It wasn't even on a Monday where he could actually have something and KJP could, do all her fumbling, stumbling, bumbling that she does. This is insulting.
Here's the thing that's insulting. It's not even that. I don't even care about that because I expect that out of Biden. I didn't have an emotional reaction. I had an emotional reaction to all the other politicians glad-handing themselves, fawning all over themselves, calling Joe Biden a hero. Get out of here. Joe Biden didn't want to leave this race. Y'all forced him to lose this race or leave this race. So he's not like some self-sacrificial guy trying to do it for the love of his country. Baloney. Stop this nonsense. Stop trying to tell me this nonsense. We all saw what happened to Joe Biden over the 4 years he was president. It was obvious they hit him from the very beginning. Those of us that paid attention saw it. Those of us that just really don't like Donald Trump didn't want to see it, so we didn't see it. So it comes back around to this idea that politicians really do still believe that they're public servants. None of us in the public actually believe that. I'll just tie this in. I just put out the latest episode of my solo project, Equal Matters. By the way, catch Mike's solo project every day at 11. I can't be that consistent with Equal Matters. It's just hard. Mike's given every day he's here.
It's fresh outdoors, buddy. It's pretty simple.
Well, I went outdoors with Representative Ortiz, who's a progressive lawmaker in Arizona, and knocked on doors. And what we talked about was the general consensus is it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. As a voter, you don't like politicians. You think they all suck. You don't think they understand you, which is so true. So for these politicians to come out, Mike, and just, oh my, Joe Biden, 50 years of public service. Shut the bloop, 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 bloop. Stop it. Stop it.
Such a great man with a heart bigger than the White House. Shut up. Just knock it off. He's a self-serving, arrogant punk. And if you want to say something about Donald Trump, same thing. Fine. Don't care. Cool. Self-serving, arrogant punk. Guess what? Has a great record as the president of the United States. Lo siento. That's it. Numbers are what the numbers are. Except for spending, Rob, I know, before you jump through the TV.
And COVID and a whole bunch of other things. But
yeah, I don't know about COVID. I mean, okay.
He was horrible during COVID. Horrible.
So who was good during COVID?
Exactly.
Okay, so don't give me that. Okay, so
nobody.
50 years of self-service. I do like that.
This is right.
Yeah. Yes, self-service. I do like the Kamala's now unburdened by what has been. I'm
gonna ride that all the way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, everybody.
She's gonna get her ass whooped, is what she's going to do. This
Hold
is
on.
going to be fun.
I want to talk about that.
Okay.
I have two things I think can help Kamala, but please, we'll get to
that.
No,
I know. You can't do that and just walk away from it. So
here's number one. You already heard it. It's the story. Oh, she's the first this, first that. They're already running with that. But of course, that's a story that's played out. But now it's going to play it on the national stage. Here's the real advantage that Kamala has. Very short window to screw up. So Kamala, over a long period, obviously couldn't handle it. But she really is going to run for president almost like in a UK parliamentary style. There's only like 3 months. If she can hang on for 3 months and not screw up, she'll be all right. But that's the thing.
Okay, come on. That's like saying Donald Trump is going to spend 3 months not tweeting.
No. Here's the reality. But here's the reality. Again, I go back to Trump has massive negative numbers. Biden didn't win because Biden's awesome. Biden won because America was like, Trump. Trump still carries those negative numbers, which, Mike, I have advocated for Trump to just change his tonality just a little bit.
But his favorability is 20% higher than Kamala's. So, I mean, if we're talking head-to-head, and I'm talking about RCP. I'm talking about an aggregate of all polls, not just I saw a poll that. Literally RCP. I mean, it's not even the favorability rating and the positive imaging or whatever the hell you say, and it'll give you the 4 options or 5 options, is way off the charts there. And I'm sorry, Grizz, it's unbidened by what is I don't have my glasses on, so that's even funnier. Sorry, pal.
She's now on Biden for sure.
You literally cannot escape this kind of crap, though.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion.
Sorry.
About some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
Let me look. Let me check.
And
you can't change who she is. She especially there. That was when it was hot to pronouns were the hot thing, and apparently she wanted, because there's blind people that couldn't see that she was sitting at a table wearing a blue suit, because a blind person gives a rat's ass what you're wearing and what color it is. It's a bunch of nonsense, and you can't walk away from that. She is who she is. She is an unlikable, unsympathetic figure. She is Hillary-esque. But without talent. You got to give Hillary credit. Hillary had talent. Hillary could play the game a lot better than Kamala can. Kamala doesn't have it. She's a terrible candidate. And by the way, let's get to this. She's not the candidate yet. She isn't. She just has the support and backing of Joe Biden. This convention is going to be destination TV. That roll call is going to be wild. If you ask me, my prediction is this. It's going to be McCarthy-esque. Remember the votes that went down to make McCarthy speaker? It's going to be McCarthy. They are not going to one-time it for Kamala. They will not.
I think they will, actually. I think that it seems very certain that the elites have picked Kamala, and then that's the way it is. But this is really the point. I'm going to go back to Kamala for just a second, because I don't want to downplay this. She has a chance to win. She really does. And it's going to be difficult, but here's what Democrats excel at: ground game. Democrats are phenomenal at it. I was actually talking to our boy, Congressman Schweikert, the other day. I put up some more signs for him Sunday. And he said, so in my area of Phoenix, Moon Valley, It's one of the last Republican strongholds in Phoenix. And it's not even a stronghold. It's slipping all the time. And he says the Democrats are putting resources in this neighborhood, not just to put up signs, but to knock on doors, because Democrats have a better structure to pay people to get out and do this work. Republicans don't. Now, the good news is the Trump team understands this, because Trump has a new campaign team, and they're going to get on the ground, they're going to knock on doors, and they're going to do these things. This is what this is going to come down to, because, again, in certain states, Trump has the momentum, but with Biden out, the whole game changes. And it's really going to matter in the crunch time in these next 3 months to keep Kamala from screwing up. Because, yes, Kamala is that. We all know that. But most of America doesn't know that. Most of America doesn't pay attention to the vice president and how bad she is. Most of America probably won't see television ads because most of us don't watch regular television anymore. We're going to be influenced by maybe what's on Twitter, X now, what's on social media, what you hear on Russell and Hunter. So there is a chance, and I don't want to pretend that this is easy for Trump, because it's not going to be easy. Now, of course, Kamala could show up at the debate in September after she is the nominee and completely botch it and ruin her chances.
But she's tethering herself to Joe Biden and his record. That's her
Absolutely.
record in this case. And by the way, the majority of anyone that was going to not vote, I would say, again, is not voting for Trump. They're just voting against the Biden record and what has happened to this country in the last 3.5 years. That's where the vote is. And she is seen as, remember, they've done this since the very beginning. It's the Biden-Harris administration. First time in history, we've said the president, vice president, and every single time we said administration, it was the Biden-Harris administration. So whether you think, okay, this was in the long game, they've always planned for this to happen, whatever the heck you might think it is, her name is tethered to every single debacle that Joe Biden has. And so I think it's insurmountable for her to go over Joe Biden's record and to be seen as a fresh candidate, something that is not Joe Biden. I don't think she can do it. She just doesn't have the talent to do it.
And maybe that's true, but you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing: Joe Biden didn't either. Joe Biden barely campaigned in 2020, so there already is a model, especially with a short window, that benefits Kamala. It does not benefit Trump, because I don't know if you saw the ad that Trump's team's already put out, and it is doing that. Their first strategy is to attack Kamala by tying her to Joe Biden.
And that dunked on her.
But I mean, that's the obvious, right?
No.
So now you have to figure out how to get past the Kamala story, because the media is already fawning all over themselves, along with the politicians, about what a great story this is. And they're running that she's tough on crime because there's some organization called the People for Kamala that's already got an ad out too for her.
Oh, surprising! This all happened very quickly.
Well, I mean, it's obvious,
Let
right?
me tell you something.
Behind the scenes here, but it's basically sets her up as the story. Kamala Harris was a sex prosecutor, right? Prosecuted sex crime.
Sex something.
Donald Trump is a sex offender. Is essentially what they're running.
Here we go.
But I mean, this is the battle of the airwaves, the battle of the battle of the whatever you want to call it. Trump is still very vulnerable. This is not a shoe-in. This shouldn't be looked at as easy, because if you take your eye off the ball, if you're the Trump team and think this is easy, that's when you lose.
I don't think that. I think this is when they step on the gas. Look, and here's the deal. And here's the gig. Like I was just watching a video this morning. It was Donald Trump the day after 9/11. And he was walking. He's walking to. He just got out of Ground Zero, and he's walking to. I forget where he was going, but he was in the street. And he was like, I got 100 employees over here volunteering. I'm just going to go give him a little uplift, give him a little high five, and just, do that thing. That guy becomes, and it was very Giuliani-esque, right? And it was back in the day, Giuliani-esque, not recently Giuliani-esque. But goes back to that play and simply just exposed what the Democrats just did to their 15 million voters that voted for Joe Biden. Keep playing on that, and you win. Keep playing on I'm a man of the people, and she is part of what this establishment just took your vote again 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row now. 3 presidential cycles. The Democrats have told every primary voter, every Democrat primary voter, blank you. We don't care about your vote. We already had this plan. This is our plan. Here's Jen Kondasaki talking about just that. Listen how creepy this is. Even Rachel Maddow was confused at what she's saying. Listen to this.
Now the DNC and the Democratic Party they're going to run a process, is my understanding. And the process is going to be, the goal of it is to make the vice president look strong and be.
Okay. So the process, meaning you're going to throw a couple names out there. People are going to throw their hat in the ring. Pritzker, however you pronounce it. Newsom, maybe everybody's going to throw Whitmer might throw their hat in the ring, or I'm considering it, or I'm doing this or that, and make Kamala look like she's taking down each of these people one by one to look powerful.
Be strong at the end of the process. So that means that's what we're going to see over the next couple of days.
Watch
We're
Rachel
learning
Maddow.
a lot more about what that looks like.
She's like, huh?
What kind of a process? I mean, like a competition?
She's like, what, like a competition? What are you talking about? The Survivor? What are you talking about? Even Rachel Maddow's like, yo, are you saying the quiet part out loud? And that's what it was. This was playing from the jump, whether it's playing from the jump at the Kamala Harris ticket. I mean, the Biden Harris ticket, or in the recent year or so that they're like, okay, here's our plan. Because that obviously she's like, the DNC is going to put Kamala through a process to make her look strong. And good Lord, like Rob said, hell, it might work.
Well, and that's all. I'm just getting prepared. Kamala has a very difficult road ahead. This is not a shoe-in for her either. But the entire fact that Trump has been beating up Biden for the last 3 years is now inconsequential because you're attacking now someone else. Yes, it's the vice president, but the vice president, we all know, has really no significant role. What you do is you attack Kamala's record as vice president. You pull out all those audio clips of her not able to answer questions, of her saying that I've been to the border. Well, I haven't been to the border, but I haven't been to Europe either. To show that she's incompetent. Yeah. Like, that's to me the strategy. And to go back to what you said, Mike, did you see that there's almost like a cartoon ad where it's like a sketch ad of Donald Trump and it has someone kind of walk over and mess up his hair? It's actually a really good, effective ad. To go back to your point about the Donald Trump 9/11, it's run by the Trump team, but it's taking all his caustic comments out of play by making it seem and look like Donald Trump is the man of the people. And I think that part is a big factor in combating the Kamala Harris story, is reestablishing Donald Trump as someone who actually cares about people. Because, this is a completely different campaign, unlike anything we've ever seen in modern American history, where on July 22nd, with an election on, I think it's November 5th is the Tuesday. Yep. 5th, that's a very quick window to deal with a brand new opponent who does have a long record, but does not going to be a long campaign where you can expose all this. You have to pick and choose your strategy quickly and carefully and execute it flawlessly, because with Biden out of the race, we don't actually know what's truly going to happen yet.
I think if she is the nominee, I think it's hers that has to run it flawlessly. Because tell me the lines aren't easy to draw here. They knew Biden was Biden, and Biden's gaffy. He's racist. He's narcissist. He's not really electable. He's run how many times for president when he had to drop out of the race because he lied, and he lied a lot and plagiarized. So he had to drop out of that race. Okay, so you keep him in the basement. That's your thing. Keep him in the basement, give him a teleprompter. And if anybody wants to argue about the teleprompter, I have all of the video of him holding up his picture of his two sons, and the reflection is in each and every one of them, there's the teleprompter. He had a teleprompter in his basement. That's how he was elected. Kamala, the only way to get Kamala is what Rob just said, to go into that short, tight window where she can do the least amount of damage. And again, when I talk about the planning, and that's what Elon Musk's tweet this morning or this weekend was so impressive to me. He's like, I was told it happened on this day. It was going to happen this weekend. This is when it was going to happen. This is what was going to happen. Men of that kind of ability and power, and by the way, with government contacts and contracts, putting people up in space and work with NASA, the guy, I believe that he had the insight on that. And so when you see that, why couldn't the DNC wait a day or 2 days so he can make an announcement from the Oval Office, and I'm suspending my campaign at the Rose Garden, whatever the hell it was. And then boom, it's like, boom, here's my endorsement for Kamala. Here's my endorsement for Kamala. All these now, we're all endorsing Kamala. We're all right behind Kamala. We can only do that because there's a super, super tiny window that she can screw things up. She will be very, very well handled. She'll be very well taken care of, just like Biden was in his basement. And it's going to be hers to execute flawlessly. If she doesn't, if Kamala comes through, it won't even be close.
And that's the trick, right? It's the same thing with Biden. They knew that Biden had a history of plagiarism. They knew that Biden was not a good candidate in 2007, 8 when he ran again and basically admitted that he was racist when talking about Obama and the 7-Elevens and the Indian accents, if you remember that quote.
Oh, it's fantastic.
This is
and
the
HIV been tested for AIDS. Oh, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that was one of my absolute favorites.
I didn't remember that one until it resurfaced over the weekend, as the internet is good at going back and finding those old clips.
And that's the thing. You can't run from the internet. Like you think about what look, I do believe and this is a firm belief that the media is well left. The media runs in conjunction with the DNC, and that there are Biden administration people now, Biden-Harris administration people in all the bullpens around that's talking about which way the news is supposed to go. That used to be easy. That used to be easy for prior administrations because there was 3 damn stations to worry about and probably 5, 6 newspapers that anyone cared about or that anyone was talking about, right? They're not talking about the Sacramento Bee. They're talking about the New York Times. They're talking about the LA Times. So it was very easy to control a narrative if you were a president. Back in the old days of like whistle stops and all that, how did any campaign get out? They wrote books. So that was, you just get the information out and that was it. That was so easy to control. You could look like a deity if you just wrote a book and that's all people knew about you or had someone write a book about you. Now we have the internet, a 24-hour news cycle with the ebb and flow of narratives and basically philosophies of these cable news networks. It's increasingly more difficult for a DNC or a Harris campaign to control a narrative to make her look positive when all we have is 3.5 years of her looking like a buffoon. And Rob, I think you'll appreciate this. At least we know one thing about Kamala. She's got the black vote locked up. Think about it.
In
Think
jail.
About it. That's right. That's right. Thank you very much. I'm glad somebody's getting this joke. I've been trying to play it out. Yes, that she's locked up more black people than anyone in history, but there she goes. Yeah.
Well, and so here's the deal. I want to go back to Trump's speech, his acceptance speech, because he had all the momentum in the world going up to that. And that speech was long and it was boring and it was low energy. And I thought Donald Trump, as I watched that, I'm like, he's beatable. Because here's the strategy. The strategy is going to be the same exact in 2020. It's going to be an anti-Trump strategy. Look at Kamala. She's amazing. She rose up the ranks, was tough on crime, yet let out people that funded wanted to push the Minnesota Freedom Fund, which let someone out on bail, went to kill a couple people. So you have all these flaws on her. The Trump factor to me has to be the reasons to vote for him. Economy, illegal immigration, making America great again, bringing factories back, whatever it is, because Trump's going to have to counter the anti-Trump narrative in a way that he didn't do at the RNC. The entire RNC was great,
fantastic
for Trump until Trump, in my opinion. And when he was telling the story about getting shot, super captivating, super compelling. But then he went on for another 85 minutes. And it was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, really? Like, come on, man.
The only people that watched all hour and a half of that speech were people that won't not vote for Donald Trump. So it wasn't really a big deal. The bites that pulled out of it, that is more important than anything. But the hour and a half speech didn't turn anybody away from Donald Trump because
no, that's not what I'm saying.
People that were already on Trump.
What I'm saying is it makes him vulnerable because he can't get off the things. He can't just talk about the next 4 years, right? He just can't focus because, again, I just look at the numbers. The numbers tell me that the vast majority of people in this country, more than like Trump, don't like him. So because of that, he's incredibly vulnerable. And if he's doing nothing to change that opinion of people, it's going to be more difficult for him than it needs to be. That's all I'm saying is Trump is getting in his own way, as he always does.
Yeah, when have we ever seen him not? We understand that.
But he needs to win, is my point.
I get that as well. But the fact of the matter, you got to look at this. You got to look at this from a we the people standpoint. You got to look at this from an everyman voter standpoint. You got to look at that. Excuse me, ladies. Every person standpoint. You got to look at that because Trump's again and again and again and again and again. Trump's always been Trump. Trump has never, ever changed. Never. Not a lick. He hasn't changed. The only thing that might have changed him is he understands he was one head nod away from dying. Like that might have changed Donald Trump. But Donald Trump has always said the same things. He's always monologued. He's always rambling on and on and on and on and on and on. He has. What he has on his side is one hell of a damn record as president of the United States when it comes to the matrix we judge anybody on, any president on. So if that's the case, and Kamala tethers herself to the Biden administration record and the Biden administration cabinet, especially this bozo Secret Service chick that we have to talk about here in a moment, Trump doesn't really have to do much changing.
I disagree.
Vulnerable, I get it.
I mean, look, I completely disagree. I think that there is a very clear path for Trump. It is very easy.
Yes.
And I think that if he takes that path, it would be a slam dunk over Kamala Harris. He's just not going to take that path.
How do you know he's not going to take that path?
Because he hasn't
of a speech at the RNC?
No, because of the speech at the RNC, because of everything he said after the RNC.
It's been a day.
Well, no, it's been over a week now.
No, it's been a day since Kamala was basically crowned by the DNC.
No. I'm talking about Trump, the speech last week, and the follow-up interviews that he's done. It's not going back to that idea that the ads that they're putting out, his campaign team, Donald Trump, 9/11 has 100 employees there. That's the real Donald Trump, according to people that know him. That was the message that all the other speakers gave at the RNC. Now, he might not want to go out and brag about all that, but that needs to be the messaging. And if that's the messaging, I don't think it's a problem. But if Trump continues to go down this path where he's not really liked, it's going to just be more difficult for him. I'm not saying he can't win that way. I'm just saying, as a person that has studied campaigns, has been up and close personal in campaigns, understands how the American electoral system works, that Trump has a wider path to victory if he broadens his approach behind a microphone in front of a camera. It's just, if he doesn't and he continues to really narrow it down, it's just he's making it more difficult than it needs to be.
Well, you got to understand, he went on years of it was stolen, Dominion was stolen, and then he changed it. He stopped. He changed it. So we know it can be done, and his cadence and his strikes can change, and we know his attack patterns can change. But the thing is he's not going to stop having attack patterns. That's his entire MO. It's his entire career. It's his entire brand is attack patterns. And here's the thing. If we're going on just what Kamala says and what Donald says, okay, I would agree with you, Rob, that there's a wider path if he does make some adjustments. What is not being said here, and I think what is being ignored, and I do not think it should be undersold or can be undersold, is you have 15 million Democrats that kind of feel punked today, or a good part of them kind of feel like,
You sure?
Here we go. Third time in a row.
But you sure they care?
Well, hold on. Fool me. Here's the deal. This is why I don't care. A lot of the when they did the black voting after 7/13, they did a lot of black polling. And a lot of black voters said, I wasn't going to vote. Now I'm voting, and I'm voting for Trump. So that's not what I'm getting at here, but I'm saying that there's things like this that change tide and sentiment of voters, whether you were going to vote or not going to vote, or where you were going to vote and you're like, see this and you're like, whatever. Damn Democrats are doing this crap again. It is literally 3 presidential cycles in a row where they have punked the primary system. They have punked primary voters 3 times. So it's like, okay, it would be difficult for me to think that common sense Americans, Democrat voters, would think, okay, this is the 3rd time they've done that. Do I see a pattern here? Do I even want to freaking vote? Do I even cast my vote? Because I'm not going to vote for Trump. But why am I going to vote for a party that keeps punking me like this? So there has to be a segment there as well. It's not just personality on personality going into the polls.
But here's the thing. Nothing is normal in America.
True.
1/3 of Democrat voters think that the Trump shooting was set up by him. 1/3. 1/3 of Republican voters think the Secret Service was in on it, some deep state plot ordered by Joe Biden, right? Okay. There's no evidence either way.
And those are the people that, by the way, are on the 10% on each side. Do we talk about this? 10% right, 10% left.
But hold on.
80% of common sense Americans don't think that.
But this is what I'm getting at is 1/3 of Democrat voters is a high number. 1/3 of Republican voters is a high number. So the things that we think logically that should matter don't. Plus, there is the entire segmentation of how we get information. So that whole Democrats thwarting democracy in their own party, which, Mike, you're absolutely factually accurate. The last 3 times, 16, 20, 24, the Democrats have done this. But Democrat voters don't seem to care about that.
We'll see.
Because their option is to vote for Trump. And this is, again, the problem.
Or to not vote, Robbie. Or to not vote.
I get all that. And
Okay.
that may be a factor, but the Kamala thing, I think, changes the game because $64 million rolled in 12 hours after Biden dumped out and Kamala comes in. So the entire party apparatus is now back engaged to this. So again, these are just things you have to pay attention to if you're Team Trump, and they're paying attention to it. They get paid big bucks. They're the best at what they do. So this is
they might be the best looking at what they do if Trump picked them. That's really it. That's the qualification.
The campaign people are staying behind the scenes for a reason. The Ali, what's her name? The lawyer Alibaba, whatever her name is, Ali Hani, whatever.
Didn't he punk her or something in some way? No. But
she was there at the convention and the whole thing. But common sense just isn't as much of a factor as it used to be, in part because the way that we get information is so segmented, getting back to that many Democrat voters will not even see the theory that their entire democratic process has been thwarted by the elites. Doesn't necessarily mean they would care anyways, because if your identity is so wrapped up in being a Democrat, which millions of people are right now, they're not going to care. They're still going to go and they're still going to show up. And, I think this is for the other side, the Trump side. This isn't a celebration. It's a shifting of strategies and a shifting of priorities in order to maintain that you win, because, we've seen this happen before. I mean, 2016, Hillary Clinton was in this an exact position where almost everyone in the world thought that she was going to win. The whole Trump side is convinced now he's going to win in the landslide. Again, when the ego, trust me, I've read all the stuff.
Okay, hold on. Whoa. I have a hard time believing that the majority of Republicans think he's going to win in a landslide. I highly doubt that.
I'm just saying, based on what I've read, the Trump propaganda arm, the Jack Posos, the DC Dranos, all these guys are saying this, right? I just don't think it's going to be that as if, this election is over, because there's a brand new set of circumstances now that change the game. And I'm just being cautious more so than anything else, because it ain't over till it's over.
Agreed. And same on the other side too. They know they think they got a lock, but saying like Poso and Drano are going to say that, it's a lock, it's a landslide, big red tsunami and all that crap. That's like saying that, George Carville wants Kamala to win. Duh. Like, of course, like that doesn't, their opinion doesn't pull weight if they say that they're going to win. Like, same as like Rachel Maddow is saying that Kamala Harris is the greatest candidate for president in history. Of course, she's going to say that. So I think that the vast majority of America is just looking at these two going, okay, well, here's the new, lesser of two evils, I guess. I don't know, but none of us. Usually. I don't think America is at large happy about our choices right now.
No, and that gets back down to it, which is another reason why, Mike, it's very unpredictable, because you can't look at, if you looked at 100% of Americans and you're going to say, okay, 40% really like Trump, 40% really like Democrat, 20% are like, eh. But even amongst those 40%, it's not as if there's universal agreement on either side that these are the best two candidates. And because of that volatility, everything is up for grabs, which is why, to me, getting back to this ground game and this organization and getting voters out, getting ballot harvests, right? Play the Democrats' game that they played in 2020, because if you're able to do that, you can win strategically and tactically, because you have to have tactics in order to carry out your strategy. The good news is, it seems that the Trump team, whether Trump does it or not, understands this, and they have the discipline to play this game. So my point in bringing all this up is, it's not time to spike the football. It's time to do the work. It's time to say, okay, we shifted from Biden 3.5 years with his vice president, who's worse than him, who's performed worse than him. She's not qualified to be president of the United States. And here's 97 clips to prove that point. But you have to get over to the other side of the media, right? Because this is my challenge with X. Like, I've been spending a lot more time on X recently. Fastest way to get news and information. Because what happened on Sunday, I don't know how you did it, Mike. I heard the news and I went out and put out some signs for Schweikert, and I put on radio stations. And I put on NPR first because I have a preset for NPR, and they weren't talking about it. I went to our old radio station, and they put on ABC News. And then I went to our old station, which we were last at, didn't have anything on. And the coverage was so boring on ABC News. So I came home, and I do what I normally do. I put on all the channels. I think I started on CNN, went to Fox, went to MSNBC, ABC News. And you were right. Rachel Maddow was convinced the race is over. She said immediately, as soon as the 24 minutes went through and Biden came out and endorsed Harris, Kamala Harris is going to be the next president of the United States, said MSNBC's Rachel Maddow. Looked right into the camera, said it as certain as the day is long.
Yeah, I mean, there's predictable as the day is long. So, but here's
part of the problem.
Here's a thing that I have. And this is a thing. The curveball that I was thrown, because I'm still on this because I don't believe what they said. I do not believe it in my soul. I do not believe this, that Hillary Clinton is going to allow Kamala Harris to be the first female president of the United States. I do not think in her soul, she wants to do everything to make this not happen. When I heard the Clintons have endorsed Kamala Harris, I mean, I know Bill did. I heard she's got some skills, if you know what I'm saying.
He might know firsthand. You never know.
But but as far as so I have a story from a Secret Service person. Anyway, Secret Service Secret Service about as trustworthy as the FBI right now. But having Hills, something's got. That's why it's Destination TV for me at the convention to see that roll call. I don't, especially with superdelegates. I don't believe that Hillary is endorsing Kamala Harris for president of the United States. I can almost assure you she is not. Is this a play like, you know what? Let's all rally behind her instead of pick me when she might be being picked. I am not still at this moment 100% certain that Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee with Hills in the wings. I don't trust them. They're not trustworthy. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. And that's my only X factor in this, because she's not the nominee yet.
I don't disagree with where you're going, but here's where I think is the difference between Hillary and Trump. So Trump runs in 2016, and I don't think he expected to win. I don't even think he expected to be the nominee.
Melania sure as hell didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see Trump's face when he became the nominee. He was like, oh, crap. And then when he won, he was like, oh, crap, now I have to be the president. So you could tell that was it. But the difference between Trump, and again, you guys know I have many issues with Trump. But what I don't have an issue with him is he gets up and tries again because he always believes in himself. He's willing to take the risk to run for a third time. I don't think Hillary is willing to take the risk to lose to Trump again, because she just doesn't have that same personality makeup. So I do think, as much as I would have agreed with you, but I just don't think Hillary has what it takes to put herself out there like that again in case she loses. And then her career is a double loser, losing to Trump twice. I think she's too afraid of that. So I think she's perfectly fine throwing Kamala to the wolves and saying, cool. Because the other part, I would have agreed with you until Nancy Pelosi came out today and said she backs Kamala. Nancy is the GOAT at being House Speaker, at counting votes, at doing whatever she can to make sure the vote goes her way. Iron-fisted tactics, whatever the case may be. So now you've got the Clintons, you've got Nancy, and you've got a whole bunch of other Democrats.
Everybody's waiting on me.
Because here's the other part. On me. If I was talking about this just in a factual sense, the Democrats have put themselves in a corner because they picked Kamala as vice president, and to say that, no, some like white dude like Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who's been governor for like 5 minutes, or Andy Beshear in Kentucky's another name that's mentioned. They're two white dudes. You can't, in a party that runs on identity politics, have two white dudes or Gavin Newsom from California come over the top of a black female presidential candidate. It just doesn't work that way in the Democrat Party. So I do think, Mike, because they're in a bit of a box here, they now have to go in this direction, win, lose, or draw.
Okay, they do. And I think I'm still thinking it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be as clear cut. I think thinking the convention is going to be as clear cut as you think it's going to be is a lot like saying that Donald Trump's a sure winner for this thing because it's Kamala. I think there's going to be some bumps in the road, especially waiting for Barack to come out and say, well, Kamala's the right thing to do. Willie Brown told me she's the right thing to do. And anyway, okay. So I have an issue.
Sorry, that's one of the comments about Clinton.
Wait.
Grizz and Lynn, if you're on Facebook. She married Bill. She's already a double loser.
Double loser.
Lynn, no, that I think
Double
Bill's
loser. She's a double loser. She's a double. Now I forgot I was going to say. You guys are too funny. I always forget what I'm going to say because you guys are too damn funny. What you did say, though, is you say Hillary throwing Kamala to the wolves. God, dog, y'all know. You know Hillary Clinton. You know the Clinton machine. You know what that group is capable of. For her just to immediately say, yes, Kamala is the best option for this whole thing to take out the guy who took me out. So then you think that Hillary wants to see Kamala beat Trump when she couldn't? Okay. So there's something there. Either Hillary has to know that there's no way in hell she can win. And it is a throw her to the wolves vibe, or I don't know what the hell's going on because nothing else but that makes sense to me. Because I do not think that Hillary Clinton would sit back and go, you know what? I want this dolt to beat Donald Trump when I couldn't.
Well, and that's it, right? We'll find out probably in November something or other. But here's the other part about this. Who runs the Democrat Party? So usually the president of the United States does. And that's currently Joe Biden. He's still the president of the United States. So maybe he calls the Clintons because the Clintons used to run the Democrat Party until Obama came in.
True. And
it was supposed to be back to the Clintons in 2016. So let's say Biden, who's allegedly really pissed off that the Democrats are doing this to him, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. But he calls up the Clintons. He says, you know what? We need to stick it to the Obamas and take control of this party. So we're going to put Kamala up. And maybe they try to take control of the party again because the Clintons now have that opportunity because Biden clearly can't do it. So I don't know if there's ego there. I don't know if there's an internal struggle, but there have been long rumors that the Clintons and the Obamas don't get along and the Bidens and the Obamas don't get along. So is this something, if you zoom out, where Hillary can enact herself in a different way for the party, maybe not as the nominee, but yeah, sure, absolutely. And then I can pull some strings in the background. I don't know because my tendency is to believe what you said, Mike, that this just seems out of character for Hillary, of all people, to just be like, yeah, it's totally cool. We're going to have the first female president not be me because I wanted my whole life for that to be me.
Bill's still the godfather. You can say Obama's probably on a directional level for the DNC, but Clinton's still the godfather. Clinton still is. You do not do anything without Bill's blessing. Bill is the DNC. I think the Clintons are the DNC. Obama's kind of a puppeteer with Biden, and he basically administratively, and this is a direction we're going to do this, Joe, and we're going to sign this here, and we're going to put this forward to this legislation. Pelosi's already on board, that kind of stuff. But the rings have to be kissed by the Clintons, and that's why I'm really, really, really interested to see. And by the way, we're 24 hours into this, so let's let it play out. I mean, it's going to be it's going to, like they say in Harry Potter, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's new, it's fresh. So Kamala gets a bump off of that. So we will see what she's able to do with it. But again, right, if she's hidden and they're able to sell her story effectively, combine it with an anti-Trump, they have a chance. That's all I'm saying. Be prepared for it just in case it happens, because there is a chance that we have a President Kamala Harris in 2025. There is a chance, and that's really freaky, but there is a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance? Yes, I am.
Grizz, not a hand ring, I'll tell you that. Moving on here. Let's
hold on real quick, Mike. I just want to, you guys are awesome. Greg, Brendan, Lynn, Rhonda, everybody that's here, Jose. I just remind you guys, share this out, because we know that the media that you typically listen to is predictable. Grizz has even said it. Sorry, Grizz, we ruined regular radio for you because it's not serving you, right? No. So these discussions need to happen in this way to expand ourselves outside of the algorithm that tracks us. So we really do appreciate you sharing this out and inviting friends. So please, if you're able to do that today, even while this video is going, just share it out and say, come on into the conversation.
Yeah, come
because
check this out.
We are interacting with you, right? Yeah. Whereas, back in the day, we didn't have a real good option to do so, but now we do. Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to interrupt you there. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, now I forgot what I was going to say, Rob. I'm kidding. I didn't forget what I was going to say. It's okay. I just forgot to set the right setting on my shaver. So So today, okay, so let's stack this on, because Jose did mention in the comments that 713 changed everything, and he is right in saying that. And the fallout from the Trump assassination attempt is not over. What is happening on Capitol Hill today, and what is making major headlines in basically for the first time, and Rob can attest to this, guys. I used to love congressional hearings. They were like my sport. Like, I had a fantasy team, right? I mean, I had the top guys. These guys are going to tear into this. This is, whatever. And I loved it. I actually gave Comey credit, because James Comey was a dude. That is one of the best witnesses we've ever seen. He's so much better than his director Ray Bozo and all that. Comey was a G in front of a congressional hearing. But today, the head of the Secret Service is on the hot seat, and for the first time, tell me when. Anyone in the comments, throw it in the comments if you can. If you can think of one time where everybody is united, Republicans and Democrats, on one thing, this hoochie needs to resign. She needs to be gone. She is a absolute mess. She's a loser, and she needs to be gone. AOC was telling her to resign. Ro Khanna was telling her to resign. I want to see if I have the Ro Khanna clip, because you guys know I dig me some Ro Khanna. I'm a big fan of Ro Khanna. I know you guys think that it's silly, but I actually am a big fan of Ro Khanna. Let me see. And yes, I am going to put my glasses on, because I sometimes forget. There is my Ro Khanna. Here we go.
Do you know what Stuart Knight did when he was in charge at the time of the Secret Service? Do you know what he did afterwards?
He remained on duty.
He resigned. He resigned.
After
And Stuart
Reagan.
Knight was not a Democratic appointee or a Republican appointee. Look, I'm not questioning your judgment. I just don't think this is partisan. If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign.
Period.
That's what Stuart Knight did. He was a Republican appointee, and he took responsibility. And I think you need to reflect. This is not a question of you. It's a question of the American people. You cannot go leading a Secret Service agency when there is an assassination attempt on a presidential candidate.
Okay, I do. I think everybody agrees with Ro Khanna on that. Here's what I disagree with, though. Okay, if somebody just tried to, like, they're in a group and everybody's, signing hats and stuff, somebody tries to shank him or something like that, that's an assassination attempt. You can't just say, okay, if there's an assassination, because that's your job, is to make sure that the president doesn't get assassinated. Now, if this happens, this just complete gross negligence happens, then yes, you should resign 100%. But I didn't even think that the Reagan guy should have, the Reagan head of the Secret Service should have, Knight should have resigned. I mean, dude, that was that, and dude just came out of on a street. And it wasn't as, kind of crazy as it is now. But, I mean, he did. He's like, buck stops with me. President got shot on my watch. That's what we shouldn't do, and I'm gone. She should do the same, but she's not. And this is what, going back to the election here, going back to this moving forward, as Jose said, 713 changed everything. This is part of that ripple effect, that when we can't, there's zero trust in the Secret Service. Zero trust in the Secret Service now. And after that, because it's obvious and it's apparent, and then you see, like, oh, she was handpicked by Dr. Jill Biden. Now, everybody, that gets people to question. And I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. It just plants a seed in people's mind, like, these guys actually took a shot at Trump, and I don't know how wide it goes. And so I think that plays into it as well, versus just one personality over the other.
But here's the thing. I don't want her to resign. I want her to be fired. I'm tired of this resignation.
Oh, I see.
stuff.
Oh, good call. Yeah,
I want Joe Biden to fire her. I want Kamala Harris to fire her because of this gross negligence. Like Mike said, this didn't just happen randomly in a crowd where there was 1 million people around. There was a roof that was empty that a guy went up 20 minutes before he took shots. They looked at him and went, it's fine. He's just looking at us with a rangefinder. What the hell? I'm tired of this resignation nonsense that all these politicians just want to get on camera, because here's the problem with hearings. They don't do anything. They don't result in any action. So I, like Mike, have just grown tired of the pomp and circumstance of them, so that Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina can do a bunch of yes or no questions in her 5 minutes. And it makes Nancy Mace look fantastic, but it doesn't change the Secret Service.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the point. The point, again, why do these politicians care? Because that might be them.
Yeah.
It gets targeted. That's why they care. That's why there's universal agreement in this, because
I
they
don't
saw-
care what it is. They have
Yeah.
universal agreement for the first time.
And I'm good with that. But the universal agreement should be, if you put pressure on Biden to drop out of the race and it worked, put pressure on Biden to fire her.
Yeah.
So stop with the TV nonsense and actually take action. And again, I'm even Republican senators, Democrat senators. Oh, look at this. This person needs to resign, right? There's a lot like Josh Hawley, the dude from whatever state, Missouri or Arkansas, whatever state that guy's from. He's tweeting out all the stuff. I'm like, I don't care, dude. Do something. I don't care about your words. I don't care about your tweets. I don't care that you want to look presidential. I want you to do stuff. Your job as a senator is to provide some oversight to certain parts of government. So do it. Start yanking funds, whatever it is that you need to do to force these things to happen. Because it's all talk. It's all nonsense to me. It's all pomp and circumstance. And that's what I'm tired of, Mike.
It's all pomp considering the circumstances. All right, here we go. Let's hear her. Let's hear it.
Do you know what Stuart Knight did?
Oh, wait. No, my fault.
What's up,
I
bro?
apologize. We're sorry about that, man. I hit the wrong.
By the way, he is one of the most progressive members of the lawmaking body in the House. So,
But I dig him.
Yeah,
I actually dig the guy because he talks like a human, and he's not just some Adam Schiff or that new Goldman punk out of New York. He's not these idiots, and he's not like a Swalwell. He's like, okay, we can have a conversation. You know, my ideologies and your ideology is different, but we can still have a conversation. That's what I always appreciated about Ro Khanna. Didn't we see? No, we saw his office when we were there. Like, I want to talk to Ro Khanna.
Yeah.
So bad.
We didn't even note on AOC's door when we were there. She has a bunch of like Post-it notes.
We did. And by the way, good on her for having that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually see nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think that's pretty cool that she got to, that she says, okay, I want to hear from you guys and put the Post-its on there. Yeah, it's pretty rad. The Secret Service head was simply, I'm going to have to go look into that. Let me get back to you on that. Hasn't been to the site. Did you see that there was one congressman who actually went and took the shots from that distance? And he said I was 15 of 16. He goes, the other one, ironically, the 16th actually hit on the body shadow target, hit the ear. And he was like, these were all kill shots. He's like, he goes, I've shot my AR one time in my life. I've had it 6 years. He goes, I've shot it one time. He goes, I went out and I shot this thing and I was accurate at that range. Like, how in the hell? And she just sat there. So just sat there, and that probably would have been the best idea. Or if she was really cool, she'd be like, you know what? All you guys are right. It's the deep state. I quit. They all tried to assassinate Trump. See ya.
I need some protection.
Best idea right there. That would have, seriously, I would have hired her for something at that point. I think the guy that did the shooting, he said at the very end, he's like, just resign and go back to guarding Doritos.
I did see that.
That was hot.
But see, yeah. I think that it dispels, it doesn't really dispel, it actually proves a point that there's no character in Washington. There's no people that have moral values, that have character and ideals. And I think that extends throughout all of the parties where winning is the only thing that matters. And when winning is the only thing that matters, you staying in your office if you're a politician, when that's all that matters, guess who loses? All of us. We the people. You and me. You know, that to me is the real tragedy of all of this, is that no one is sitting there going, yeah, you know what? It is my watch. And that was horrible. I'm not qualified to do this job, so I will resign. Again, I'd rather Biden fire her. But if she had character, she would do the same thing. But she doesn't, clearly. And if you look at all of the Biden's hires, and this is where I think I would go if I were Trump, I would make a big story out of the Secret Service. I would say something to the effect in an ad: the Secret Service was the last government agency you could trust. And then on July 13th, they too proved to be part of the swamp. Hi, I'm Donald Trump. I'm running for re-election. I am going to redo the American government to make it effective for you. We the people deserve a better government. We the people, from top to bottom, deserve a government that gets you results, that bring down prices, that keep gas affordable and energy affordable, whatever the spin is there. Sure. Because I do think this lack of character is the best word I can think of. Ideals, principles, whatever you want to call it, is so apparent to me that I just want to wash my hands of it and kind of put a certain finger up in the air and point it in Washington, D.C.'s way. You're just like,
Oh, I
"Hell,
did that.
all of you.
As we left on the plane. You remember that? It was right behind me. I'm like, the sad thing is what this exposes, having the head of the Secret Service in front of this dog and pony show. She said that day, the Secret Service and I will cooperate fully with any investigations. We will cooperate fully with any congressional hearings that we need to be before this and that. And then Alejandro Mayorkas, that worm punk, tapped her on the shoulder and said, no, you're not. No, as a matter of fact, you're not going to, you're not going to even testify in front of Congress. The pressure made them change their mind, but he told her, and you can see this plainly, you're going to go out there and know nothing. You're going to say, I'll point you to the FBI if you want to know more about that. It's an ongoing investigation. I can't speak on this. And you're just going to obfuscate the entire time. And you are going to be taken care of, whether you resign, whether you're fired or whatever, you're going to be taken care of. You just need to go do this. You need to take this kind of heat. You need the smoke today. You're going to be taken care of. And if you don't think that that's the way it works in Washington, you're not paying attention. Obviously, Secretary Mayor Pete, you're dropping out of the race. You're going to be you're in a high-ranking cabinet position. Whatever, just go down the road. Everybody gets something for doing this. She has not resigned yet. She's not been fired yet because her package isn't put together yet. It is now. That's why she's in front of there. It's a slimy ass thing to look at. It's gross and it's disheartening, to be honest with you.
And then the question is, which people care? Because again, I find that a lot of these conversations, which is why Mike and I encourage you to share this out, because it seems like a lot of people talk to themselves. So, for example, Jack Posobiec, one of Trump's guys, he has 1.5 million followers on Twitter. Probably 1.4 million of those are people that agree with him. So he's tweeting out all these things to the same people all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's not expanding to the other side. And I think that when we follow things on social media, our view of the world gets smaller because we're not exposing ourselves to other things. So it gives us this idea that everyone else thinks this way. Because for the life of me, I cannot figure out why Democrat voters don't care about what their party's doing. I can't figure that out. But it has to be based in this idea that that's how many Democrat voters view the world. They only get Democrat information, just like many Trump voters only get Trump information. So when you have one flow of information, it's going to make your worldview look that way. So if you think that your party is protecting the country from Donald Trump, you probably don't care that the very thing they're accusing Trump of is the very thing that they're doing in their primary process. Number one, with the things they call the superdelegates, these are delegates at large, important elite people in the Democrat Party, and that's how Hillary won. They put pressure on the superdelegates to not support Bernie Sanders in 2016, support Hills. And it worked because Bernie got a lot of votes, got a lot of delegates that way, because Democrats have two separate, right? Superdelegates and regular delegates that are supposed to represent the voters. But at the end of the day, what just happened now in 2024 rather, is we have a presidential candidate. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden until July 21st. And it's not Joe Biden. In the new election, the convention's in less than a month and the election is in November. So you just took out all of the voting process for Democrat voters who seem not to care because they only care about beating Trump. So you're sacrificing your own principles and ideals to go back to the winning only, winning at all costs. So that, as Brendan pointed out, that's what cost Johnny Lawrence the All Valley tournament and Daniel against LaRusso and Karate Kid. See, maybe that'll
put
be
him in a body bag, Johnny.
Well, and that's for the Democrats, right? I talk about Trump and his pride and his ego all the time, but the Democrats have just as much pride, just as much ego. And if they're not paying attention to their egos and their pride, they might end up like Johnny Lawrence. And
But I think that that is something that, and again, my unwavering belief in we the people. It has been for years. Rob can attest to this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hiding it no more. The Democrats aren't hiding this anymore. They're not hiding their shenanigans. I don't know if it's just that they lost the ability to hide their shenanigans because of the 24-hour news cycle and the internet. I don't know, leaks and hacks and things like that we're just discovering what they're doing. But It doesn't seem like they're altering course because, again, this is the third presidential election where they have rigged the primary, and they have been busted. That's why Debbie Wasserman Schultz is not the head of the DNC. She'd still be the head of the DNC. The fact she's still a representative is just a big homage to a big tip of the hat to gerrymandering. I mean, she got busted rigging in a primary election, and they did it again. And so we, the people, do see these shenanigans. People go, this is absolutely insane what we're seeing right now. Problem is, we see a bunch of bozos like what's his name out of Florida, Gates, that's taking down Speaker McCarthy and all this. And we're just beating it.
Seriously, what are you doing? Looking like the Joker.
Easy with the Botox, dude. He's going to Pelosi. He's going the Pelosi route, man.
Dude, you're already handsome, man. Like, what are you doing?
Kid.
Oh, come on.
The big pompadour and everything. Just keep.
By the way, he's showing all the hallmarks. He's got something to hide. And that's why he goes after McCarthy, because McCarthy knows. And McCarthy's like, I don't know. You slept with a 17-year-old. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, right.
I have evidence that you actually paid women for sex. So, like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. No wonder why you're going after me like this. And it just looks bad and desperate on top of the Botox.
Yeah, right. But okay, so but that's the thing. I mean, we understand that our party's being a bunch of bozos, but say he does look like Jim Carrey in the Grinch. If I was Johnny on the spot, I'd be able to pull up a picture, but we don't have a staff yet, so it's okay. When we have a staff, we'll be able to. We'll be like Joe Rogan telling pull up that picture of Gates. Yeah, but Gates looks like a
we need a young Jamie on our staff.
Dude, seriously, somebody can work for free or preferably pay us to work here. Whatever works. It's fine. Yeah, that works. That works too. All right. Well, then we run out of time. Hey guys, let's do this again tomorrow. What do you think? Everybody down with that? Let's get into this and make it happen. He's Rob. I'm Mike. This is Russell and Hunter. In the same news. In this case, it just happens to be what it is. But we're gonna do this again tomorrow at noon. We will see you there. Thank you all for playing along with us. Like it, share it, like it, share it, like it, share it, like it, share it, and we'll do this again tomorrow at noon right here.